Que pasa to the Packers back here.
AKA your mama's best friend, your daddy's worst nightmare.
I'm not that excited like usual because the Spurs trade DeJounte Murray. To be honest with you, I haven't talked about this trade at all for the channel because I honestly didn't think the Spurs would actually trade their All-Star, but here we are. So I'm going to cover that in today's video. I'm going to go to NBA 2K22, show you the ratings and changes, all that kind of stuff. If you like this kind of content when it comes to NBA 2K22 news, rosters, ratings, players, all that kind of stuff, please join the pack and subscribe. Now remember that the roster updates aren't going to happen in NBA 2K22. This is technically how the roster is working for NBA 2K23. Yes, I know that's a little bit of clickbait, but there's no dislike button now, so. Okay, let's go. I think we should just start with my favorite team. Let's just get this part over with. The San Antonio Spurs. Oh my God, bro. Okay, so the Spurs have decided, even though Coach Pop is 90 years old, we are going full 100% rebuild mode. It is time. This is the first time the Spurs have done this since they got David Robinson injured and they got Tim Duncan the next year. They haven't done it in like 22 years. So yeah, they've decided to go full rebuild mode. Our best players would be Keldon Johnson, even though he's like an 82 overall, but this roster thinks he's going to be an 80 overall. Jakob Poeltl, who I don't even know if we're going to keep. Danilo Gallinari is added from the Hawks, which I don't think we're going to keep either. Devin Vassell is going to be a lot better. Hopefully next season is going to get a lot more minutes, a lot more playing time. Our rookie, Jeremy Sochan, probably going to get a lot of playing time. Doug McDermott, Josh Richardson, and I know we lost Lonnie Walker, and so I know Josh Primo will probably get some minutes and get a lot better. Man, are we not a good roster. In fact, rating-wise, this is the worst roster in the NBA, which is the point. The Spurs want to get the first pick in the draft so they can get Wembanyama. They also get all the Hawks picks, and even though the Hawks picks are going to be like the 20th pick in the draft, they still get them. So the Spurs are usually pretty good at drafting players. So yeah, this is going to be a very bad team this season, and I don't know how I feel about it, but Keldon Johnson will have his opportunity to be the best player on the team, and Sochan is going to be able to develop as a rookie, and Josh Primo will finally get minutes as a player, and look at that. And all of a sudden, we have an interesting young lineup. Maybe, I don't know. We're going to be so bad, bro. We're going to get like 20 wins. But okay, the more important team is the Atlanta Hawks. So the Atlanta Hawks now get my boy, DeJounte Murray, who's a 25-year-old, 87 overall All-Star, he's a point guard. I guess he'd be the shooting guard. Some people were telling me that Trae Young should be the shooting guard, but I'd rather Trae Young guard the point guards. I mean, the size difference, Trae Young is already the worst defender in the NBA. Now imagine him trying to guard shooting guards. It's just, no. So you put DeJounte at shooting guard, Trae Young at point guard. I can show you the starting lineup of this team. It's going to be Trae Young at point guard, DeJounte Murray shooting guard, DeAndre Hunter, who had a great postseason, will be a small forward. You hope John Collins stays power forward, and Clint Capella still a great center. And you have yourself a team. I will say that the spacing on this team isn't necessarily great. Trae Young is, he's still a bucket and he can score even without spacing. But DeJounte Murray's not really a three-point shooter or able to create three-point shots unless he got better in the offseason. This is going to be a little weird when it comes to spacing-wise, but I'm sure that they can make it work. They still have Bogdan Bogdanovic and Okongwu off the bench. This is a pretty good bench. So yeah, the Hawks just looked at their roster and said, if we just had another All-Star, we should be able to be contenders. This same roster without DeJounte Murray made a conference finals. So with DeJounte Murray, they should theoretically be able to contend for a championship. Theoretically. Me personally, I think this is still a conference finals level team that could make it, but they're going to have to be Giannis, and no one on this team is going to be able to guard Giannis. They're going to have to beat the Sixers. They're going to have to beat the Celtics, and that's still going to be a really close matchup. So they're better, but I don't know if they're better championship level wise, but they're better. And I give credit to the Hawks for that, for sure. There was two other pretty important trades. We'll go with the Nuggets. So the Nuggets traded away Will Barton and Monte Morris, who were two really good players. So I was a little skeptical about this trade, but they get Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, who's a proven great shooting guard that can play good defense, hit open shots, and even create shots if he really needs to too. So it's a good player. He's a good role player. And then you have Ish Smith, who I don't know if they're going to keep, but they add Ish Smith as well. So I think the biggest thing here is they get Kentavious Caldwell-Pope. And I think if you look at this team and what they needed someone who's a 3-and-D player for this starting lineup of Murray, Porter Jr., Jokic, and Aaron Gordon. When you put it that way, adding Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, who can hit threes, play defense, is going to make this team elevated at a starting lineup level, while Will Barton was a bucket getter. That's all he really was. And so He's a great six-man, but he doesn't fit the piece of the starting lineup needed. And then Bones Highland coming off the bench is going to be disgusting. Jeff Green is still a great NBA player. Britton Forbes is still solid. For Campasso, you still have players here that's going to make the lineup even better. So I think actually this is a W trade for the Nuggets, but we're only going to find out if it pans out next season. Now, when we look at the Wizards, this team is all over the place because now you get Will Barton, who's a good player. You get Monte Morris, who's a good player. These are good bench players. Kuzma looked solid last year. Porzingis, when healthy, we know is great. But guess what? This guy called Bradley Beal might be leaving because he does not opt in for his contract and is going into free agency. So you might lose your 25 point per game scorer and kind of ruins the whole point of making the trade you just made. Now they had to because they wanted to keep Bradley Beal and make him enticing to stay. But I think it's crazy that this man has decided to not opt in. So this is a pretty crazy situation for the Wizards. I mean, assuming he stays, if we look at the starting lineup, it's going to be Monte Morris at point guard, which is a good point guard to have. Bradley Beal, Kuzma, Porzingis, and Gafford. And I think this is a playoff team in the East. It's definitely a playoff team. This all falls apart if Beal's like, later, let me go to a team that can give me a max contract. And I mean, so could the Wizards, but he wants to go somewhere that he can compete in. And all of a sudden, it just throws everything out of the water. Very weird situation for the Wizards. I have no clue how they're going to save themselves out of this situation. Let's look at the final trade. Kind of an under-the-radar trade, but I really liked it. The Sixers trade for DeAnthony Melton from the Grizzlies for Danny Green that goes now to the Grizzlies. So DeAnthony Melton, now this season, I think, I don't have the stats up on me, but on top of my head, I think he averaged around 14 to 15 points per game. But in the beginning of the year, the first third of the year, he was averaging almost 20 a game, and he's only 24 years old. Now, what you hope to do here is have DeAnthony Melton come off the bench and be a bucket getter who can also play defense, because that's going to work. I mean, I still think the small forward, I mean, I don't know if they're going to have PJ Tucker at power forward or what they're going to do, but definitely some weird situations here for the Sixers. I think this team, on paper, is a championship level team. You have Embiid, you have Harden. Tobias Harris has always been solid. Tyrese Maxey is getting better every season. PJ Tucker is a great defender, corner shooter. So you have pieces to win championships. It's just the bench, right, that was really weak. You've definitely strengthened it really hard with just adding DeAnthony Melton. W pickup for the Sixers. And for the Grizzlies, I don't even know if they're going to keep Danny Green. I mean, Danny Green's always a good pickup on any NBA team you get. 76 overall, one of the best 3-and-D shooters in the world. But, you know, torn meniscus is a real thing. So we'll have to wait and see if he's able to play during the season and if he's going to help out the Grizzlies in the way that they want them to. But very interesting stuff for all these teams. What do you think about all these trades? Which is the biggest upgrade for which team? What is the biggest downgrade for which team?